How are you now?
Oh, good, and you?
Not so bad. I always like to pause just to wait to see how long it'll take Tiara to chuckle. So I'm Dean,
I'm Tiara.
and we've got with us today Michael. Michael, how are you? How are you now?
Good, and you?
Deadly.
Doing good.
Awesome.
And what a great episode for me to be here for. This is one of my favorites.
It is a great episode. Well, they're all pretty great. I mean, and this one,
yeah.
And this one is as great as Uncle Eddie. Because he's a good fucking guy.
Fucking great
He's
guy.
a great fucking
What
guy.
a great fucking guy. So let's we'll start off like we normally do. Michael, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about you, what you do, if you'd like to, as much as you'd like to tell, and if you have anything to plug, go ahead and plug it.
Well, hi, I'm Mike. I'm just your resident fluffy ginger who loves to laugh at things. I claim responsibility for spreading the virus that is known as Letterkenny across the entire workplace, including a previous guest of yours, Luann. And I'm a supervisor for DoorDash. Actually, I manage a few different cities.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So what got you into Letterkenny?
Well, it was funny. I'm an avid gamer, and I was in a raiding guild on the Warcraft, and my guild leader and one of our officers just started saying "figure it out" one night, and I don't know what it was. It was. I think it was the fact that they were like horribly Southern and trying to do the Canadian accent. It was too much. So I finally said, "What the hell are you guys talking about?" And they said, "Oh man, you got to watch Letterkenny." And that was back when I think just season 1 was on Hulu.
Right.
And I think I watched season 1 about 200 times before the rest of them came on there because it was just so funny.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah, I remember the very first one that I saw on YouTube.
I was going to say, our first introductions to Letterkenny were before we should have been able to watch it in the U.S.
Yeah.
The Letterkenny Problems videos, I love those.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, they're awesome. I love them. I mean, even the ones that really don't kind of fit into the show exactly because the characters are slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're still fucking hilarious.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite videos right now is the coach teaching you how to motivate your players. All 3 different ways to kick a trash can.
I haven't seen that yet. I need to find that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh.
So yeah, those guys, I don't know how they think up the clever things that they think of, but they're pretty damn funny.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I watched an interview with Jared Kiso not too long ago where he said he would play Wayne for 400 more seasons if they'll let him because he loves doing the show. So
well, and I'd watch
awesome.
it. I mean, hell, I've watched Supernatural this long.
Right? How long's that been on now? 25 years? It feels like 25 years.
These they make these Canadian shows built to last. They
do.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And even when they run out of ideas, they don't run out of ideas.
Right. Exactly.
Well, the fun thing now is Letterkenny fans have isolated the 40 seconds Jared Kiso's in Godzilla, and if you want to see something really funny, look that up.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah, the American accent Jared Kiso's pretty priceless.
I love spotting Letterkenny in nature. Like when we're watching something else and it'll be like, oh, hey, that's Jonesy or Riley, whichever one, because I can never remember which one is.
Well, it seems like Riley, Dylan Playfair.
Yeah, Dylan Playfair. We've seen him in a couple of things now.
Yeah. Most recently was, I think, The Order.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and then Gay and I believe Gail are both in a really serious show called Alias Grace.
Right.
And just seeing Gay on that show, I'm like, no, this isn't right. Where's Stuart?
Well, we saw Gay. We saw Gay on something else. We were talking about it before, and now
True Detective. She was just on True Detective also.
Oh yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, he's more the TV watcher these days because I'm in grad school because I'm an idiot, and I'm half the time like when I look at our DVR, I almost cry with how much is waiting for us to watch together that he's now given up on.
I know that feeling all too well.
So let's, as we usually do with our episodes, we will start off with a a chat about last week's episode, a little quick
Yes.
recap. So we ended last week's episode was native flu. And so, which basically was, kind of a juxtaposition of fights between Riley and Jonesy and Wayne, or the other Hicks fighting against the natives, and getting the natives back into Letterkenny to sell smokes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where that ended off. And, there was some a little flirting going on
flirty.
between Tanis and Wayne. And so that's where that ended off. And when we pick up here in the next week at Uncle Eddie's Trust, we don't see that right off the bat. So we don't see that at all in this episode. So I was kind of hoping to see some of that this episode. But when we start off this episode with the open, they're out of beer, and they're all out at the produce stand, and Wayne has poured out his bottom inch of beer because he says it's all bottom inch is bugs. And he said, because first
the last inch of the ice cream cone.
First he says, to be fair, and
well, to be fair.
Oh, don't say to be fair. Hate when people say to be fair. It sounds like to be fair.
To be fair. Well, to be fair.
To be fair. First time we hear it.
This is the first
time.
This is the first time of to be fair. So
I believe we have said it on the podcast at least once or twice.
Yes,
but.
totally. And so
To be fair.
So they talk about how the bottom inch is all spit anyway, and Squirrely Dan is just getting upset at the fact, and Katie is disgusted. And he says
the bottom inch of a beer bottle is 50% spit.
And so then he starts talking about the bottom inch, just like the bottom inch of an ice cream cone. and Squirrely Dan is like, I don't like where this is going. and
I am Squirrely Dan in this part right here.
This conversation's fast becoming a confrontation.
So yeah.
No, I don't want to think about that.
One of my favorite gifts to send now. I love that quote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us are Squirrely Dan. I find myself as Squirrely Dan in a lot of things.
You are absolutely Squirrely Dean.
So yeah, then then Derry comes out and he brings them a bottle of creme de menthe, a bottle of blue curacao. Or
Thank you.
Is Squirrely Dan Caraco. And then
butterscotch schnapps.
Butterscotch schnapps.
Wow, that was hard for me
Katie.
to say. That was really hard.
Because because Modine's is gone. Now
Still don't know why Modine's is gone.
Yeah, they haven't explained that.
Nope.
So we just know Modine's is gone. And that there's no more beer, but Derry.
There's no bar in Letterkenny.
And there's no more bar in Letterkenny, and so
And the beer store is
closed, right? As after he hands out the booze to all three of them, he pulls out a beer from his pocket, and so Squirrely is like, how do you rate? He goes, I found it in an old golf bag, and so Wayne's like that. Well, he's just drinking warm piss, and Derry just shrugs his shoulders. He's like, yep, whatever. And warm beer is fucking gross.
I want to know which one of them plays golf. Like an old golf bag.
Well,
where did you get an old golf bag?
It's got to be Derry's.
Yeah, or one of his family members, or
I don't even know. I don't know. We haven't seen any of Derry's family members.
We know nothing of the life of Derry.
we know that his mom used to do the super soft parties, and now Wayne and Angie do, or Wayne and Katie do it too.
And I'm going to bring this up here in a little bit. I'll bring this up in the thoughts and theories at the end, but we'll talk about that later because they have been talked about.
Yeah.
So then we cut to they didn't want to drink of all. They said just mix them together. We could have donkey juice, and so
donkey juice.
So it's like I remember when I was a kid, we would mix all the different sodas together.
Yes,
and we called them a suicide. Now
we called it the graveyard.
The graveyard.
Yeah.
So I guess probably because by the time.
Did you have a name for mixing all of your soda together?
It was definitely the suicide here in the Midwest.
Yeah. So
I'm from Seattle and he's from Texas, so
Yeah.
we
Gotcha.
always kind of compare those
well, suicide. Yeah.
idioms.
Well, Seattle is like one of the suicide capitals of the United States. So
Yes.
maybe
So
maybe
that's probably why they didn't want to call it
right.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're going to not acknowledge that word as much as possible.
It sure is pretty here, even though it's gray 90% of the year. Not raining, but gray.
Right. Yes. Very true. Very true.
Everyone thinks Seattle rains all the time. It's not true. It's actually like today, it's gorgeous outside, but it's cloudy. Everything is clouds.
True.
You know, it's actually the same here in Springfield, Missouri. It's wonderful weather outside. I think it's like 71 and windy. And but good night. It's dark. It looks like I'm going to get some tornado warnings tonight.
Oh boy,
Sounds like fun.
that's something that rarely happens around here.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a tornado warning around here.
Oh yeah, it happens every once in a while. Not generally in
mean-
the city of Seattle.
I mean, I
but
grew up
our
in Texas
surrounding
where
area.
we had,
I know.
well, they were a normal happenstance. I mean,
Yeah.
my mother actually drove through one in her Cadillac.
I am so not surprised.
Tornado warnings are just must be April to people in the Midwest.
Yeah, yep. And I lived in Kansas for a while when I was in the Army. So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen them all. But yeah, so then we find out at the next scene that Uncle Eddie has died. Yeah, and I love how Katie
Oh, thank you. Can't win them all.
can't win them all.
I
And that
literally was like, is that what? Okay. Okay.
okay.
Great fucking guy.
He's a great fucking guy. Yeah. So yeah, that's
Mr. Letterkenny.
He was a good guy.
He was a real good
He
guy.
left us a bunch of money.
Did he?
Damn did he do.
How much?
5K.
What a great fucking guy.
He's a real great fucking guy.
Well, he'd want us to have a party.
He wants us to put it back into the community.
A great fucking guy.
And I love how he's really like, actually, God damn it, I wanted to throw a party.
but hey, but Wayne is about the charitables
It is true.
without bringing knowledge any of it on himself. So
Very true.
you know I think he was probably a little 50-50 on that.
So, how do you want to fuck this pig?
Yeah. So yeah, we get to
I love that. Like, it's literally the first 5 minutes of this episode, and all of my favorite parts have already
Yeah.
happened.
Oh, yeah.
This is the beautiful beginning of this episode.
Oh, and one of the things, and I'll bring it up later, and that's the new term, crokinole, and I'll need to look that up because that's when he's when he retired down in Florida.
Ah, yeah.
That he, yeah. So, I want to I'll need to look that up in the new terms. Yeah. So we then go to the.
So they decide that they're going to put it on Facebook.
Right.
And so we start seeing it being passed around to everybody we know.
Right. So it's
And
it's a whole
which
montage.
one is your favorite one?
Oh, Gail on the side of the
Right?
road. Say, I remember the first time I saw this. I didn't really.
the first couple of times we saw this episode.
And I said, Gail is over on the side of the road with her hand in her pants. She is not taking a piss because she's standing up.
Right? If Gail was biologically male, we would assume that they're pooping. That they're peeing on the side of the road.
Right.
But unless she has some anatomy that
she's rubbing one
we
out.
don't know.
She's over on the side of the road rubbing one out.
Which
Because-
is so perfectly Gail.
Gaylor just had to take care of it. That's all.
well, you know, when you
rides that bike.
ride that bike around on a bumpy,
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how she stands it. I'm surprised she actually doesn't have a vibrator built into her bike.
Well, she doesn't need one. She rides a rocky road. So yeah. So from Gail to the everybody. So everybody, the Hicks, the Skids, the hockey players, everybody has seen it, and so then we go back to the bar or to the house, and there's a knock on the door. It says, "Well, faster than shit through a goose," and so we start at the barn.
Yep.
With Bonnie McMurray.
Bonnie McMurray.
Oh, she's
her
so
cute little
she's so
sundress.
fucking cute.
I have to keep telling
Bonnie
myself.
McMurray.
Right. I keep having to remind myself that her character is in her 20s and it's okay to look at her and go, oh my. Because there are moments where I'm like, oh, she's like 12.
Yeah. Well, she,
I'm sure that's how Wayne looks at her. Like, who's this 12-year-old? And everybody else is like, oh, Bonnie McMurray.
Right?
yeah, well, yeah, and Wayne just like he wants to be like a big brother to her. I think that you know
Yeah.
he's like, you okay? Yes, please. And you know he treats her like he treats Katie. Yeah.
Can I get you anything?
Yeah, and so we start off, and it's the Skids walk up. Bonnie introduces them just like the hostess on Shark Tank would.
Yep.
And so the Skids want so the very first question is about Stuart's penis.
Right. Katie stops him. Do you have a what was it? Do you have a giant knob?
Is your horn?
Your horn.
Do you have a gigantic horn? And both Devin and Roald say yes.
In unison. And poor Stuart is just like, what? Like he's so uncomfortable. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's,
I would just like to take like a 10-second moment here and just say, can we just have a Rolled appreciation moment?
Oh.
How fun Rolled is.
I'd love Roald.
I want to be his best friend. I really do. But I also want to get him away from Devin. Like, I would like him a lot more if he wasn't Devin's lap boy, I guess. Lap dog.
More like a walking mat, a doormat.
Yeah, that too.
So
But he's like, oh, I got it. Old Looney Tunes cartoons where you'd have the big bulldog and the little chihuahua next to him. The chihuahua would be like, come on, let's play. Like,
true.
I feel like that's Roald. Like he'll back up whoever is his friend.
Yep.
I will. You need help? Let's do this. I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I'll probably get killed, but let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Skids basically offer 66.6%, of course, 666 because they got to be dark.
So dark. So dark.
Wondrous, unquantifiable, disastery.
Disastery.
And the touching tubes.
Every time I watch the first couple seasons, I always realize how much I miss Devin. You know, Devin's character was so good with his random grunting sounds.
Stuart, I love Stuart. So basically their pitch is for intervention.
Yes, and then they stage an intervention, which is just the silliest. I feel like when we touched tubes,
I think back in
that's when you became a disaster.
Wish we hadn't touched tubes, and maybe it wouldn't be only a mild disaster.
Stuart.
Oh my God, you sound like him.
And so, so they're not buying it, and Katie says,
And for that reason, I'm out.
I'm out.
I love that mimicry of the people on the show and like the over enunciation.
Right.
Up until the last one, she does it.
And then then we jump to the next one, which is
Jonesy,
Riley, Joint Boy, and Tyson. Right. And they're basically, and I think they're, correct me if I'm wrong, that's Ultimate Fighter that they're pitching.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But it does kind of at the end of
Ultimate
their pitch.
Fighter Junior.
Well, there was something, and Wayne's character kind of picked on it too, and that near the end there when they were talking about swimming together and wrestling together and living together, and Wayne's like,
sounds a little Fruity Loops.
Yeah, which I wouldn't use those words. I wouldn't use those words, but I literally was like, is this turning into a porno? There's a porno for that, right?
Ultimate Fighter porn.
Well, I mean, okay, I will fully 100% admit to being a porn connoisseur. And my favorite is that reality series Tristan Taormino did, Chemistry series, which this is just chemistry but with like MMA fighters. Like that's my what I was imagining.
Yeah,
so.
it's
Now I've made him give me the quizzical look.
It's a bit more. It's also a bit like a bit between Ultimate Fighter and what's the Big Brother.
Did they have people being evicted? I missed that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was a bit.
I didn't write that down.
There was a little bit of Big Brother in there. So it was like gay Ultimate Fighter Big Brother. That's what it
Sounds about right.
That's what it felt like.
Coming
mean-
this fall to Bravo.
Oh, but before
Yes.
that started, you didn't mention about Jonesy and Riley when they were saying hi to everyone, but they were like,
Oh, right.
and to the one who we will not acknowledge or something
who,
like that.
who shall
and
not be named.
You shall not be named.
She's-
And she's just like, I just love how she shuts them down.
Oh, but yeah, because she gives them. She says that I know that you were.
From the team kinesiology trainer, they were getting,
And right, and then
and
then
they started talking, and
and
they
Jonesy
were like, Shh,
Jonesy starts saying something. And Riley's going shh, and she
there's
goes,
hope for you yet, boys.
"Yeah." So yeah, that.
Oh, and Uncle Eddie's only shortcoming. He liked kids.
Yeah, he liked kids.
He liked kids.
Mm.
But Wayne don't care about your kids.
Doesn't give a damn about your kids.
He watch your kids fall off bikes all day. He don't care.
So yeah, then we jump to Gail,
Yes.
who is offering
69%.
of her company for 5,000, and so it's why 69?
I'm asking for $5K for 69% of my company.
Why 69?
Both sides benefit.
Yeah. Both
We
sides.
also point out how funny it is that Gaylor's basically dry humping the air the whole time.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
going.
Always. She's just like walking masturbatory wet dream.
Yeah.
Like she just
Well, it's yeah. What is it? There's that. There is a condition where one is chronically wet and aroused, and I
Yep.
can't remember what it's called.
I'm
but
sure that's Gail.
Yeah, and that's got to be.
Well, it's Gale syndrome. That's just
Yes. Absolutely.
So yeah, she's basically pitching The Bachelor for Wayne. And Wayne,
Which he's all about
Yeah.
when he thinks it's going to end up with him getting married to like the woman of his dreams.
right, but then he finds out that he doesn't want to be with that kind of girl who comes from that kind. He's like, ew.
Well, when it comes up that he has the opportunity to sleep with these three women after
Right.
he's met their families to decide, and he's super uncomfortable with that because
Right.
that's not his deal. And that's when he's like, I don't know if I want to be with a woman whose family would let her go do that.
Right.
And I don't want to be with a woman who would choose to be somewhere where knowing that there would be these two other girls. And I'm like, why? Wayne.
He's wanting more self-respect. I understand. It's Wayne.
It's absolutely Wayne.
So,
it's
yeah.
100% Wayne.
So yeah, that was Gail's pitch, and they're out.
Well, no, Wayne was only out once Katie
Right.
was like, can we do
What if
an opposite
what if it's
version?
20 dudes and a female?
And Wayne's like, you are out and I am out.
So yeah, then we get to the McMurrays, who want 5% of their business. Oh, and with Jimmy Dickskin.
Dickens.
Dickens. And so yeah, that was just a clusterfuck. It's hilarious. That's not a good one to talk about. That's a scene you have to watch. Because there's so much
Yes.
going on there.
So much.
I mean, with
Everything is turning into something sexual
Oh, yeah.
between, and it always does.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is- it's
because she's
really
like shoving
uncomfortable.
drill bits in her butt or trying,
Right? And he's
pretending
talking
to.
about putting them between her boobs. And,
Yeah, and then you can shove them up your own. And he goes, if that's what you're into, I'm not gonna. I love how McMurray, he's the one to first start talking about that, and he's like, not that I'm into that. Yeah, okay, sure, McMurray. So yeah, that's so. Yeah, the $100,000
$3 million box of drill bits in the old microwave
Oh,
and the
God.
old
I love
VCR.
how it's such a blatant rip on Storage Wars.
Oh,
yes.
So
Exactly.
hard.
Also, where can I sell my DVDs for $10 a piece?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
Because-
I need to find that place quick.
Right? I could pay my mortgage for the next 6 months with the number of DVDs in our storage right now.
So yeah, then we jump to Glenn and I forgot that Milo and
Finn,
and Finn. And
Milo, and
I don't remember the other one. I didn't.
insert name here.
I don't. All their stage the
stage names. Kennedy, Collins,
and Campbell.
and Campbell.
Those sound like last names. They are.
They are.
Red shirt number 4. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
And so they go in this singing thing. I want you to praise him, and Glenn's
Oh my God,
dancing
Glenn.
around.
It's terrible.
And and when he gets at the end, and he tells Finn that
This is not fucking Glee.
I mean, you don't generally hear Glenn swear.
Right.
I
Very
mean,
true.
Yeah. He has a swear jar.
I'm a little disappointed in that, just because I now know that you have something to use against me when I just break into random song. So
This is not fucking Glee.
I did want to pick up one thing
Yeah.
from the little Glenn scene that I liked a lot was actually right at the beginning when Wayne was like, "Have you ever had a what was it? Something Girl Scout cookie."
Oh, a frozen Girl Scout.
cookie, because which harkens back to the opening when
Right.
they had the alcohol
The creme de
and
menthe.
the creme de menthe, and right, like without pausing, he's like, "Yeah, but I do it with gelato because I am proudly lactose intolerant." And Wayne's like, "You just power. Sometimes you just got to power through." It's like you don't power through lactose intolerance, but okay, Wayne. All right.
Well, what I found funny about it is he's proud of being
He's so
lactose.
proud of it. It's proudly lactose intolerant.
Is there a lactose pride day?
He might be proud of a lot of things and just liking to talk about it.
Sponsored by Lactaid. So yeah, and the other thing is he was talking about one of the kids was he's actually a castrato.
Which is funny because I'm pretty sure the one that he was talking to was the one who was singing the bass.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. That was
Yeah.
that made me laugh. So yeah, that was for America's Got Talent, which was going to be happening in a week.
In a week.
Oh
Oh.
fuck!
Oh, fuck. Oh,
I'm
fuck.
out. So then we get Squirrely Dan and Derry show up. And now here's what I think's funny is Bonnie introduces them.
Yes, I
Yeah,
wrote this down
go
too.
ahead, go ahead.
Okay. So Daryl says hi, and she's like, "Hi, Derry." And then Dan says hi, and she's like primping herself up again. She's like, "Hi, Dan." She wants everybody except for Derry.
Yeah. So that which I'm wondering what's happened from then until now to cause that. But anyway,
Well, she was never really into Derry. Derry was into her.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so I mean, but why is she acting? She's kind of acting like Katie was at the beginning.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so we get to their pitch, which they're basically pitching
Duck Dynasty.
Duck Dynasty,
Dynasty, yeah.
And then they pitched a little too much of Duck Dynasty.
So yeah, talking about an idol's mind is a devil's playground, and but yeah, then they get to the part about.
And after we grow to our brand and got a followings, we can use our influences to condemn homosexuals.
And that's where they took Duck Dynasty a little too much. That's where they took a little too much of the behind the scenes and said, "Hey, we're gonna do that."
Yeah. So yeah, so then they're that they really want to blow up beaver dams.
Right.
That's for sure.
Why
I'm not surprised we're not blowing up beaver dams right now.
right?
Yeah. Why are we not? Why are we talking about it? Let's just go do it.
So, but Katie says this says lawsuit written all over it. So we can't do this. But then Katie says, "What did you say? What I told you?"
Well, before that, so when they were like, "Oh yeah," and Wayne's like, "Dude, if you want money, I can just lend you some money." I'm like, "No, we're fine." Well, then why did you do all this? Well, because you wanted to give back to the community, and
Right.
Katie just was like, "Do something for the community."
Right.
That would be.
But that's when they're at the end. And she's saying, "What did you say?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's like,
He'd want us to have a party.
Exactly.
so they take the 5K, they buy all kinds of beer and other booze, and they celebrate the life that was Uncle Eddie.
Yes.
And that was it. I mean, they cut to
Well-
black. They say, and they would
Just
never
wait.
need another bar in the town of Letterkenny again.
There was one little thing in
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
that, and my brain, sometimes I'll just like see something and it will really nag at me.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's all starting and Wayne and Katie are talking and Bonnie McMurray is standing there with the tray of shots,
Right.
and he takes a shot off and she starts walking, passing by Katie. Wayne turns and gives the shot to Katie.
Right.
Like, why did he take a shot to give to Katie, who was about to get a shot? Because
Because he had the bottle.
but why did he take it at all?
Maybe he was just being nice.
This is my point, though.
That's
If the waitress is about to walk by both of us and you pick up one to give to me when the waitress is like, it's gonna pass by anyway.
that's
It's stuck in my brain. It's one of those where I was like,
maybe he was just trying to get her attention away from Bonnie McMurray, because they do later on talk about how Katie even wants Bonnie McMurray.
spoilers.
So
Absolutely. Actually, there was that was something earlier I noticed because in the very beginning of this episode, Bonnie really just seemed to be focused on Wayne, and then she sort of was flirting with everybody except for Derry.
right.
And that was like when Katie was like, "Where did you get your dress?" It was a present. Oh, do you know where they got it from? No. Do you think you could find out? Yeah. Like, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So yeah,
Lots of foreshadowing.
oh yeah. So yeah, the scroll at the bottom says that the town of Letterkenny would never need a bar again. They cut to black, and
But
we're
Wayne
out,
looks at it.
we're out of beer.
like breaks the fourth wall and looks at the and just what? And then it fades to black, and then we're out of beer. Oh
No.
$5,000 worth?
Yeah. So that's the end of the episode. Which I mean, it's a fast hitting episode. I mean, it seems much shorter than it actually is, but there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah.
So thoughts, questions, theories.
Oh, with this one, after this one, I always wanted to have more Uncle Eddie conversation on the show.
Yeah.
And as we know, it does come up, with the Pig Hoof Ale.
Mm-hmm.
But and the Pig Hoof Ale has the best bloopers of all. If you've ever seen that blooper reel, it's priceless. But I've always wanted more Uncle Eddie since this episode, even if it's just something random like this, And on top of that, I love the reality show rips that they do. It's so good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I love how spot on, like, exactly which ones they're talking about, which ones they're making fun of.
So here was a thought or / theory that I had. You don't ever really see adults. This is like a live action Peanuts.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You were mentioning this the other day.
So yeah, it's like
Yes.
Wayne. I don't want to say Wayne is Charlie Brown because he doesn't really get got like Charlie did. I mean, if anybody's Charlie Brown, it would be Derry.
Derry's absolutely Charlie Brown. Oh my God. Derry's absolutely. Squirrely Dan is Pigpen.
Okay.
100%. I think Katie's probably Lucy, or Angie is Lucy.
Yeah. So yeah, because Peppermint Patty.
Gail. Peppermint Patty wants Chuck. Hey, Chuck. How you doing, Chuck? Gail's always like, hi, Wayne. I'm going to hump the air in your general direction.
Maybe that's why they have the McMurrays always have slurred or damaged speech, because they're supposed to sound like the adults on Peanuts.
Right.
Oh
They're like on the cusp.
They really are. They're the oldest of the characters, I think. Well, how the characters are supposed to be, anyway. But not even by that much, because McMurray's older than his sister, but not like ancient.
Yeah.
I don't know, because we don't know exactly how old any of them are. We just have some basic guesses on that.
Yeah, because even Jimmy Dickskin talks.
Dickens.
So yeah, it's like those three are like on the cusp of not being able to talk properly, like the adults.
Yeah.
And
I
then
can
the
see
few
it.
times I can remember seeing adults, they never even spoke.
Right.
They were just like background characters.
Yeah, the election, there were a couple of adults, but it was like Asian woman, brown guy. Like we didn't have names.
Right.
They didn't really have.
And we've definitely and like Peanuts, we definitely never really see the parents.
Absolutely.
The best in Peanuts, I mean, you see their legs. You don't ever see. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a thought that I had.
That's a good one. Anybody listening from home, you should chime in on the Facebook page who you think is who.
So yeah, so new terms. I've got.
Wait, I have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a very important
and
question.
I have some questions too.
Okay. Very important question.
Yes.
How is the beer store always closed? It's a very important question.
That is a very important question.
I mean, so I understand that Well, actually, I'm using my experience. It must be because it's a different province. Most of my experience is in BC when it comes to Canada. And I very clearly remember liquor being in the grocery store from when I was a kid. That might not still be the same, but... And then here where we live, we now have liquor and beer both in the grocery store, and they can be sold as long as the grocery store is open, essentially, until it's like 2 a.m. or whatever it is. But
well, as far as I think it was, it's
even
probably
when we had the
just,
liquor stores, we still had beer was able to.
But here's the thing: they're living in a tiny town, and they would have to drive. Well, like when they had Derry's birthday party, they had to go into the city,
right?
So
to get most of the stuff.
There are also like city ordinances too, where like certain cities are dry on after 11 o'clock and on Sundays and stuff. So it could be something like that.
Yeah, they may have blue laws.
That was what I was curious about. Was like what. I mean, they never talked about that. It was just that the beer store was always closed every time they ran out of beer.
Yeah.
And it made me think, like, how does that happen these days? Because so many places have gone to more access.
Well, I think it's just because of, little towns, because like the little town that I grew up in Texas was dry. You had to go elsewhere. And
little farm town I grew up in Illinois, was the same thing. It was after 11 o'clock at night and Sundays. If an establishment sold alcohol, it was probably closed.
Wow.
Yeah. So and then now we've got a couple of questions from Facebook.
Oh yes.
So from Steve Jones, which pitch would you have chosen?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
because all of them are pretty terrible.
I think out of all of them, probably the one that made the most sense to me would have been Storage Wars. I mean,
and I probably would have voted for Gales.
The Bachelor.
But I don't view sex in the same way that Wayne does, obviously.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, if everyone's a consenting adult, if everyone is a consenting adult, then do what you want to do, boy.
Yeah, well, and like my opinion of that too is if I'm going to invest in something like a TV show like that, I know sex sells, so I'm going to make a bunch of money off of that one.
Hell yeah. That's the whole reason why Bachelor's been going on for 500 years.
Yeah. So you're going with Gail as well?
I'm going with Gaylor.
All right. So Valerie Lopez, who will be coming on our show at some point.
Yes.
And also
she wanted season 3.
Yeah. She actually also, and I'll give her podcast a shout out. I have to bring it up here, but she asked a question about that's kind of almost the inverse of this is if you had made a pitch, what would it have been? Oh, and let me give you her. So her podcast is called Comedy Wham Presents.
Oh, very cool.
And she was at a thing where K Trevor.
The comedy festival.
The comedy. Yep.
That's awesome.
And so she posted a picture of him on our Facebook.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So for me, that's actually a pretty easy one. I haven't talked a whole lot about what I do on How Are You Now, but I've talked on Podscare about what it is that I do for a living, and I work with children with severe emotional and behavior disorders. And my goal, my whole reason for doing that is it's like my giving back to the community in a way. These are children who all come from poverty, and the whole school that I work at is very high poverty, high English as a second language or more. So very, very brown, very diverse, lots of languages spoken. I want to make a calm down room. I want to make a room. And this is something that from the day I started at that job, I told them this is what I want to do. And I have been slowly working on getting that. But somewhere where if a kid needs to have a break where they can go in and just relax, and there's sensory items if they need to stim like me, or they can have noise canceling headphones where they can sit quietly in a corner and just be with themselves. And but that, it's so expensive. So much of the stuff that's in my classroom, I buy with my own money.
Yeah.
And $5,000 would just be an amazing thing for this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's no fun.
I'm
Mike,
sorry.
Do you have anything that's any good?
I'm sorry.
Because I don't give a damn about your kids.
I think honestly, it could be a two-part answer. Like, what would I personally do with it, and what would I do in the Letterkenny universe?
Right,
Like,
right. That would be totally different.
In the Letterkenny universe, I would just have like either a food truck in that universe, and putting random characters in a food truck, I think would be priceless, because you know
Absolutely.
how hyped up food trucks are nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Or you know, like have Gail find a place and restart Modine's. Like that's where I thought they were going to go to begin with.
Me too,
So-
actually. That if in the Letterkenny world, that would literally be what I would say I would open a bar.
Yeah.
What do you want to do with this money? I want to open a new bar.
5,000 not going to get you very
no,
far,
but it'll
though.
it'll get you first and last months probably.
I don't know.
It'll get you in a
In a
building,
small
maybe.
town?
So,
In a small town?
Maybe.
maybe, yeah, it depends.
Those kids drink.
It's true.
They went through $5,000 in a
Yeah,
matter of
that-
hours.
I feel like that might be more of because of what is available to them where they are that they could spend with that money. Because if I had $5,000 to spend on a party, believe me, we would still have alcohol.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that
shit.
party's still going right now.
Right? We had wine from our wedding in our cupboard for
Oh, I
10
know.
fucking years, and I spent less than that.
So Mike, if you were to spend the money on your own little pet project, what would it be?
I am a huge animal lover. So it would definitely be, I'd find community animal shelters that needed help and spread the love a little bit there. I have a little ginger cat to go with my ginger life.
Nice.
And I got him from a humane society. So it's one of those things where if I can help save the little ones, that's what I'm going to do.
Excellent.
Hell yeah.
That's a good one.
That sounds like something Dean would say.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. Let me guess. Yours is going to be I would adopt $5,000 worth of dogs? You didn't say no.
But hey, I'd probably be dogs. Dogs. I would dogs and podcast gear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe that.
Mine would be cats, so I could finally have the cat empire I've always dreamed of.
Yes.
So yeah, those were the questions. Now, a new term that I saw come. So that was donkey juice, which we talked about a bit ago.
Yes.
we
And donkey juice is because it makes you spit.
Right. Now, the one thing I don't know if you've had a chance because was the game you talked about playing. What was it? Crokinole and shuffleboard. And I hadn't heard of Crokinole before. Have you?
Mm.
We should have asked that
So
one of,
Crokinole-
Victoria when she was in here.
Okay, so Crokinole is a dexterity board game similar in various ways to Pitch Nut,
What?
Carom, Marbles, and Shove a Penny.
What the fuck?
Nips Brat with elements of shuffleboard and curling reduced to tabletop size.
I cannot
Wow.
process what you just said. There was no English in what you just said.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very interesting game. It's like shuffleboard played from around a circle, where you push your little stone toward the middle. That's what it looks like. So it's like between shuffleboard and curling. Yeah, so I can see that. But it's played on a small table that looks like it's maybe, I don't know, 2 feet in diameter.
I have my glasses off.
Can you? I don't know if you can see that in the little video there. Yeah. So
Maybe post the video.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what that is.
Okay.
So Crokinole. Now we know. We'll have to figure
Good
it
guy.
out.
Good guy with his
So-
games.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Letterkenny.
All
I
right.
would like to know how Uncle Eddie got the name Mr. Letterkenny.
Well, because he
Is they
was the
referred to-
longest serving mayor. That's what he said.
Is that what it
He was the
was?
longest
I missed
serving mayor of
that.
Letterkenny.
Good
Yeah.
catch.
Yeah. So anything else before we get to Fight Fuck Ferda?
I almost said fuck, marry, kill.
No. We
No,
don't
our
do that
version.
here.
We don't do that one. We don't do that
We don't
one.
kill, we fight. So we're going to start off with
So-
Wayne.
So,
Yes. So-
again, we always like to go over the ground rules on
go
this
ahead.
one.
Go ahead.
This is about this episode only. No past episodes, no future spoilers, just based on this episode alone, what you would pick. If you would fight them, if you want to fuck them, or if you would be with them in that fight, if you would stand next to them and be their bud.
Right.
Yeah.
Ferda.
Ferda
boys.
boys.
Ferda fresh.
Ferda.
So we're gonna, as we do, we're gonna start off with Wayne. So Michael, I'll let you answer. Fight, fuck, or Ferda?
Oh, that's definitely a Ferda for me. If anybody can, match the grumpy excitedness that Wayne had in that episode, it's me. So, yeah, definitely Ferda on that one.
All right, Tiara.
I would say Ferda as well. More because of how uncomfortable he got anytime the conversation steered towards sex. I would not be able to be in a room with somebody for more than 5 minutes, short of at work, because that does not happen. Thank you very much. I can't have a conversation with someone that does not turn into sex, and I would just make him very uncomfortable, and I would have a lot of fun doing it.
Okay, then. So
that may or may not also be my form of flirting, but
right.
whatever.
Then we will then move on to Katie.
Katie.
Are we fight, fuck, Ferda?
I think it's Ferda with Katie as well, because it's the same thing. Like the way they bounced off of each other, it's like I would love to have been the third member of that panel right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. Based on this episode alone, I would say Ferda as well. Every time that she would start explaining the why she was out, it just made me want to know more about whatever the thing was that made her very uncomfortable in that, and say, and because of that reason, I am out.
I'm out.
I'm out.
So then we're gonna get to Squirrel.
I think that's the first time I've ever said Ferda for
I think so.
Katie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Weird.
Maybe so. Squirrely Dan.
Oh. See, usually he's totally my type. But what was it? The condemn homosexuals?
Well, I don't think
know that he didn't mean to, but
he was like, "Oh, I didn't really realize."
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No, LQBTs for me is okay with me.
But so, I mean, if somebody who I wanted to sleep with made that kind of mistake, though, it immediately just makes my booty go down. How's that?
Okay. So is it Ferda or?
It's Ferda.
Okay.
It's Ferda. It's Ferda, boy. You better figure your shit out.
And Mike?
Yeah, it's going to be Ferda for me too, because that's even this episode, any episode is going to be Ferda for Squirrely Dan. But at the same time, like everybody has that really gullible friend, and I feel like that's Squirrely Dan in this episode. So just want to kind of be there to pat him on the shoulder, like, it's okay, little fella, just come this way.
All right. Derry.
Ferda.
For Derry.
I don't know how much I can say about it.
I'm going to go with fight on this one. I think I would have slapped Derry upside the head if I would have been in Wayne's shoes. So, that's just my thought.
Why is that?
Just because of how the Duck Dynasty thing took such a hard right, in more ways than one,
right?
But I think because you could just see that even how disgruntled Wayne was whenever they were talking about it. So I think that's definitely. I wish you weren't so fucking awkward. But
it's like Wayne could see where this was going and was like, oh, no, oh. He was like, "Oh, come on! Don't do the thing! You did the thing!"
But after he builds our brand and then condemns the homosexuals, we go home and we sing and hold hands and pray.
And for that reason, I'm
out.
I'm out.
Yeah, and so all right, so Bonnie.
Oh, she's so cute.
She's adorable.
But she looks like she's the age of my kids in my class.
I think I mentioned this while we were watching it. It cracked me up when she was pushing her boobs up. Sweetie.
No boobs.
Oh, they're cute.
Literally,
she's got cute boobs.
She's very cute. She's very cute. But the one of the fourth graders in my class has bigger boobs than she does. Like trust me, it's not an insult. I would have rather been the one that had no boobs growing up, but I was a kid just like the kid in fourth grade that I have right now. I was that kid that was starting to wear a bra before I was out of elementary school, and God help us all. Like it's terrible. It's terrible. All of
Horrible.
you women out there who think that you want big boobs, trust me. Trust me. You don't.
All right then.
Better
So
trust.
so we
Better recognize.
so we talked about Bonnie's small boobs, but we haven't said are we
yeah, Bonnie.
So what are we do? Are we fucking? We fighting? We ferta? What are we?
Because we're just basing it off of this episode.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Bonnie's like team player extraordinaire, so I'm going to go with Ferda again.
Yeah, I like how she just took it upon herself to kind of introduce everybody, and and part of it seems like she wanted to be a part of whatever it was they were doing, but couldn't come up with an idea, maybe,
Could be, yeah.
or maybe part of it was just I just want to be by Wayne. But I love that she was, she didn't, other than calling the Skids degens, she didn't insult anybody.
Well, she did, because when she talked about the hockey players and Tyson and Joint Boy, she talked about how they were prime cuts of meat without like half a brain
that's
cell between them
right.
or something like that.
Yeah.
I laughed at that, but I didn't write it down. That was brilliant.
So let's move on to Devin.
I will always say Ferda for Devin. I want that friend that's always just going to walk up and do that grunty sound. Like, oh.
Oh, that's brilliant. Devin's a hard one for me, and I'm trying to just think about this specific episode.
Yep.
There was one part where he shoved Rold when Rold was giving him the information, and that just made me want to punch him in the face. But I also am very, like, in my heart, I want to protect Rold. I want to protect him. I just want to, like, make everything okay. So for that reason, I would say fight.
All right.
Because he Rold was trying to, like, look, here's this thing that could be really awesome, and he just shoves him out of the way so he can play this video game. So
Yep. Stuart.
same, because Stuart was there too, kind of pushing him out of the way to.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that on Stewart as well. This was not a very good Stewart episode, all things considered.
So you're
I feel
both
a little bad for Stuart in
you're
this
both
episode.
you're both
but
fighting Stuart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rolled.
Rolled.
And we have a fourth category that's called protect the little fella, because that's what
Yeah.
Well, you're doing it.
Ferda, yeah.
Ferda. That's what Ferda is.
Ferda. That would be Ferda, because that's that. I
Yeah.
want to be. Shit, I want to be his mom. I'm like, baby, you tell me who hurt you. You point him out. I will sick all of my. I will report. God, you sound just like him.
When we touch tubes.
Oh shit. Yeah. All right then.
All right. Moving on. Gail.
Oh man. I think most of the time I'm pretty annoyed with Gail, but in this one I would say fuck, because yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Okay. I think that might have been one of the first times I said that for her.
Maybe.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna concur on that one. Anyone who can pull over their bike and just run off into the bushes to take care of business is my kind of person.
Exactly.
Right?
I'm with you.
Right? Jesus Christ. I know I've thought about it, but I've never actually done it.
Well, something to add to the bucket list.
The fuck it list.
The fuck it
Be
list.
Gaylor.
I like the fuck it list.
Yep. Our package deal of Riley and Jonesy.
I mean, I'm gonna say Ferda for those two, just because I like hockey. That's about all I got at this stage. And it's Riley and Jonesy, and how could you not love them?
I
There's-
I just want to
kinda-
go crush some Sandos with them. That's all.
right? Totally. I would say Ferda. I feel like the issues that I have with the two of them, I feel like the karma has already kicked their ass enough on it, and now I should just let them start trying to get better again.
They're starting to learn.
Yeah.
They are starting to
Yeah.
learn, and that impressed me. That
Mhm.
impresses me. They are actually understanding social cues.
They're figured out.
This is an autistic person saying, I am so grateful that this character on TV is figuring out social cues because it would drive me crazy.
All right, Joint Boy.
Oh, fuck. Just his name makes me want to be his best friend.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Me and JB are best friends just based off that.
It's like, no idea why, but.
Yeah, no.
And I feel like in this one, Joint Boy and Tyson should be a package deal because it was the two of them with Riley and Jonesy.
But
and
they're
it's
standing on
usually-
either end, though.
I know, but it's usually Joint Boy and Tyler together.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, it's Joint Boy by himself. But since Tyson has been more of a regular, they're almost always together.
What I find funny is that Tyson's real name is Jay Burton. And so he's JB, but Joint Boy is Joel Gagne. So Tyson, so we're Ferda on the whole crew there.
Yeah.
So the Mr. McMurray.
Oh, that's a fuck for sure. You know that's going to get crazy with both McMurrays.
I mean, they could be fun, but based on this episode alone, I'm just grossed out by him because, I mean...
Hey, not everybody digs the drill bit lifestyle.
Yeah. I'm not here to kink shame. It's just not my kink.
The Brad Pitt bit.
The Brad Pitt bit. I like that.
So where are you standing on Mr. McMurray?
It's just Mr. McMurray.
Well, okay, yeah, because I always split them up.
Ferda.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah.
and I do that because from the very beginning, McMurray was on his own.
Yes. Yeah. And Mrs. McMurray's recent.
So
I would say Ferda with the caveat of I would be looking at him over my shoulder or side-eyed every time he opened his goddamn mouth.
All right.
Until he started learning.
And Mrs. McMurray?
And again, I don't usually I don't know. There's something gross about her to me.
Ew.
Yeah, a little bit. And I think it's actually because of my experience in the classroom that I teach now. Like the way she talks is the way the kids think they're supposed to, the way that they think that adults do, and they don't even know what they're talking about. But that's exactly like they'll bring up very adult things that have nothing to do with the conversation because they think the word means something else. That's what I picture every fucking time she starts talking about like, whose knob do I got to gobble to, do whatever. And
Dude,
it's like,
fucking gin and tonic around here.
fuck, come on. Just stop it.
But Tom
Use it
Collins.
appropriately. And that's actually something I tell the kids in my class. You got to use it appropriately.
So the answer is
Oh, fight. I want to punch her fucking face
All right.
in this episode.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. We'll just lay her out.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
I'll do the
grossed
same
out.
thing, but in a different way. So it's fine.
so you're
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Are you fucking her then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
She's hot.
All right.
She's absolutely hot. I just
Jim Dickens.
That's what I said. Dickskin.
Dickens.
Jimmy Dickskin's the best.
So Ferda.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have much in this episode other than just talking in the background, but I still kind of want to climb him like a telephone pole.
All right. So you're fucking him.
Fair enough.
All right. And Glenn.
Oh, Glenn.
Wayne!
He smacked the back of that kid's head. I kind of want to smack him. I don't want to fight, but don't you fucking smack that boy. And then you said fucking to a boy. What is wrong with you?
This
And
is
also-
not fucking Glee.
And also, they don't suck you too. So I'm in the fight category on this one. First time fight for Glenn, for me.
All right.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go with fight on Glenn as well on this one. Glenn just
All right.
he kind of annoyed me in this episode.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
there's only one person getting fucked all the way, and that's Gail, and only one person getting their shit beat out of them all the way, and that's Glenn.
Stuart. Oh, Glenn. Okay.
Glenn.
That's
no,
right.
Stuart. Sorry, Stuart. Yeah, I missed Stuart. Yes.
Yeah.
Stuart and Glenn are getting their asses kicked. So not a lot of fucking going on in this this
A lot
particular
of friendship in this one.
Friendship.
Friends forever.
Got to be friends with him.
Oh my God. Don't get me started.
Good.
I
Well
can.
done.
I will probably be able to pull out, like, I can sing Michael W. Smith's "Friends" for you right now. In fact,
Why
my brain
can't
almost went
we
that
be
way.
friends?
That's a good one. But I was
Why
going with the
can't-
Christian song.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we're going Christian music. Let me get out some DC talk.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Hard no.
Let's have a little fun with it.
Hard no.
Some Amy Grant.
Stephen Curtis Chapman, if you will.
Yes.
How about some Striper?
Do you want to get? Do you want to get striked?
Are you looking to get striked? Oh man.
All right.
So,
All right.
is there anything else that we have not covered?
I don't think so. I think we got this episode pretty wrapped up.
Yeah, I think it's
this
nice
was a lot
and
of
tight.
fun today.
Tight and fast, and just like Gail.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know
Figure
about
out.
the first part, but definitely the second one.
I'm willing to find out.
Yeah. Same. Let's take a risk. See what
Right.
happens.
You know,
Yeah, what
I
the
bet
hell?
she would be a hell of a lot of fun.
She would be.
I
and
bet,
they make antibiotics for that, so it'll be
Yeah.
fun.
right?
All right. Well, Michael, thank you so much for coming on with us and sharing your thoughts. And we look forward to having you on again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Les Hicks, just give me a call. I laugh at that episode at
Les
least once
Hicks.
a week. So,
right.
yeah, absolute pleasure. I had a great time. Y'all take care.
We will. And
And for that reason, I'm out.
take care now.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of How Are You Now? Find us on podscure.com/HowAreYouNowPodcast or wherever you get your podcasts. We're also on Twitter and Facebook at How Are You Now Pod. Also, a big thank you to our good friend Jack Rainwater from Hard Money Saints for our intro and outro music. Check them out on Reverb Nation for deets and schedules. Take care.
Every night I said, oh